Welcome to the Aperitif podcast. Today, our guest is James Sherwin, the chef and owner of Wild Shropshire, a Michelin guide restaurant based in Whitchurch. Welcome, James, to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
No, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining. So, very quickly, for those that maybe don't know about your restaurant, Wild Shropshire, give us a little intro into them, really.
So we are a 14-cover tasting menu restaurant in sleepy little Whitchurch, which is a sort of a little market town, sort of forgotten market town, I guess, somewhere between Manchester and Birmingham. We do a not daily change in tasting menu, but it kind of comes and goes as it wants. You know, we've got a farm that we have as well. So, Friday night the snow had hit, and was it Friday, Thursday? I don't know. Anyway, we we literally had to swivel one of the dishes straight away because everything was fucked.
Right.
Sort of daily change to some degree. And the other sort of big thing about us is that we don't tell you what you're eating. You know, it's a
blind
sort of
menu.
You say blind menu, it sounds kind of a bit like that Don's Le Noir. You know what I mean? It sounds a bit corny, but it's just about sort of experience and that kind of thing.
Different concept. Because me and Naomi obviously ate with you whilst we ran the event. And it was a unique experience to have no menu at all and to basically just serve things and go, right, there you go, get stuck in, enjoy it. I think what we really enjoyed as well was get stuck in terms of finger food, in terms of drinking from the bowl, all that sort of stuff was just a great leveler really for everyone in the room, I think.
Yeah, I think that's all made around, level in the room. But also, I think, like it or not, we've become one of those fine dining restaurants and that comes with preconceptions and a little bit, people walk in with their shoulders up a little bit tense and, you say, 10 minutes later, right, drink that sauce out the bowl. Then all of a sudden, everyone sort of relaxes, the noise comes up. And when you relax, you start tasting stuff.
And you can feel that as yourself in the chef.
You can see it. I mean, we've got an open kitchen, and so we can see every reaction on every table pretty much. And there's a noticeable sort of uplift of energy and excitement when you say,
out the bowl.
Yeah, and it maintains after that, which is really nice, and it stops us being that stuffy kind of. I went to a place a while ago, years and years ago. Food was incredible, absolutely unbelievable. I can still taste one of the dishes now, and this was 10 years ago. But it was super, super sterile. Do you know what I mean? No music. The waitresses didn't speak
Tablecloth
or
service,
breathe or blink. And it was really horrible. You couldn't relax, couldn't enjoy ourselves. So we wanted sort of to be the antithesis of that, I guess.
And I think that's where the modern consumer's changing as well, isn't it? I think people
so,
want that more relaxed atmosphere. They want to feel a part of it, and having that open table and open kitchen, and that is a great insight into obviously watching you work and watching your front of house staff work as well.
But it's also from our point of view, it's nice to have that sort of almost like that little feedback cycle from the guests. So not only just we'll go talk to them and how was it, because I don't care how it was, but some people like it, some people won't. That's not the point of it. But it's nice to sort of be connected to the guests and have that feeling as they eat and as we cook, and it's cool.
Yeah. It creates that really cool atmosphere. I mean, obviously, you said it's a small covers, so 14 covers. So you need that environment to be relaxed. Otherwise, it could be pretty awkward if you're all sat there with no music on. And
I mean, we do have nights that are a bit quieter. It's just that mix of, if we have all tables of two and everyone's on a date and trying to impress the other so they're not getting too pissed or anything like that. And they're all on best behaviour, and it can be really quiet.
It's like there are people watching who's having a good first date.
Yeah, a little bit. And it can be a bit sort of...
Yeah, it can be.
Come on, for fuck's sake, do something. But that is what it is, I guess, isn't it?
But you do play music in the venue.
Noisy music. Well, not noisy music, but
And am I right in thinking they're always albums?
Always albums. So I'm a pretentious music nerd.
Yeah.
The whole idea of 14 guests with an open kitchen is based on the idea of me going to punk shows when I was younger and there'd be no stage, and you stood by the band and you can feel them breathe on you and they can hear you scream at them and shit like that. And it was a real visceral thing. Yeah. And I wanted to translate that to the restaurant without sort of all the aggression and whatnot. Yeah. You know what I mean? And and I love albums. Yeah. And God, now this is going to sound. I'm going to sound like such a wanker, but the tasting menu is an album, isn't it? It's meant to be. Right, mate. Yeah. It's meant to be sort of enjoyed as a whole. So we play albums as a whole.
Concept, and it's that continuity of the music throughout the evening, but then also how that, like you said, links to a tasting menu, but also maybe links to your menu a little bit in terms of the continuity.
And also the way the guests are as well. Like, sort of. I generally play hip hop when people come in because it sets the tone a little bit. We get some older guests coming in maybe who are like, the hell is this?
What's going on?
Just straight away sets them right. It's going to be slightly different.
Yeah.
And then we move into some sort of more sort of guitar type stuff that's a bit noisier. But it just sometimes we'll use the music to control the room a little bit. Yeah. You know, if it's too noisy because it's a small room and get on top, we'll just tweak the music slightly and bring it down. And then if it's too quiet, we'll tweak it up.
It's all part of the experience, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. And it's quite nice that there's.
Are you selfish with the music choice? I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah. I mean, I've picked a few. There's probably a rotation of about 20 albums that we listen to because a lot of my music taste is not appropriate in any way, shape, or form. So we've picked that sort of bottom end of the scale that is, and so there we go.
I love it. Well, like I said, when we dined there, it was beautiful experience. Everything from front of house to watching yourselves to obviously the food on the plate, and the wines were superb that night.
The best and my type of wines, though, Jeremy, they're white and they have bubbles in it.
There you go. What more do you need, mate? What more do you need? So, in terms of obviously where you're at now, we've very quickly spoke about Wild Shropshire, but it'd be good to delve back into how your career started within the food industry, because it's not necessarily a traditional route in terms of classical training, going through the ranks and ended up opening your own place. So
so I mean I had a bit of a midlife crisis essentially, quarter life crisis hopefully, I don't know. I was cooking at home for pleasure, I sort of met a partner, we started cooking for each other, got a couple of Jamie Oliver books, loved it. Actually, to this day, the first risotto I made out of his Jamie Does Italy book, I don't think it was called Jamie Does Italy, but you know what I mean, still ranks in my head as one of the best things I've ever cooked. Yeah. And it was probably shit, but I didn't have any reference points at that point. So I wasn't really into restaurants or anything like that at that point. Okay. I just like cooking. Sat on the sofa one day, filled in a questionnaire on Twitter about something, or it was like, it didn't say it was a TV thing, but ended up being for a production company for a TV show called The Taste. So got a phone call, would you like to come and audition for this TV show? And I was just like, right, whatever. Yeah. A bit like...
So the Taste?
It was called The Taste, yeah. So Nigella Lawson, Anthony Bourdain, Luda Lefebvre were all judges.
Oh, wow.
So
it's not a bad lineup.
Not a bad lineup at all. Anthony Bourdain, coolest guy in the world. However, at the time, I was doing lots of MMA, and his wife was a world champion in BJJ. Right. So to meet Bourdain and be like, let's talk about your wife.
Let's talk about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, let's do that.
What is wrong with you? But it's super cool. But anyway, so I said I'd go and audition. I thought it'd be a nice little day out in Manchester. Took some food. Got a phone call when I was down in London a few weeks later. We want you to come and take part. I was like, all right, cool. I just sort of went with it a little bit like something's going to happen now, like, sort of the wave will break. But ended up down in the film studio at Pinewood where they did some of the James Bond stuff, some of the Star Wars stuff, which was really cool. You see all the pictures on the wall. And spent a couple of weeks down there filming a few shows. And timeline-wise,
where are we now? Sort of early...
2012, 2011, 2012, something like that.
Right, okay. And this was what, BBC, Channel 4, ITV?
Channel 4, sorry, yeah, right, Channel 4. Right. Nobody watched it, but it was...
Nobody watched it?
It's interesting, actually. I saw one of the girls who was in my team 10, 11 years ago on MasterChef The Professionals this year.
Okay.
It was really weird to see. So, it's completely changed my life, where there's other people who are just, you're friends with them on Facebook. They are still at their old jobs, still doing the same thing. And for me, it was like a really sort of...
So it was pros and...
professional chefs and home cooks. And I think the idea was that it would pit the two against each other and all that nonsense. I'm pretty sure the judging was biased that way as well, because I couldn't cook for shit and I did all right for it for a bit. I really couldn't.
It's still on like, archives on YouTube or something like that?
I don't know about that.
Have you tried to watch it? Or?
There's definitely a meme of me somewhere making a sex noise at one point. I don't know what, I tasted something and I went,
Oh, I love that.
And there's just this circle of me making these sex. Oh, it's fucking embarrassing. I haven't seen it for years. So one of the guys in one of the restaurants I worked at found it for a while, and that was fun for a bit.
I'll do some searching on that, mate.
Yeah,
I look forward to watching.
Enjoy yourself. But
so sex noises.
I got kicked out. Well, not kicked out. I was the person eliminated 1 week.
Right, okay,
so shit. But decided on the train up, actually, I'm going to do some pop-ups, because I've been talking to all these pro chefs who'd done pop-ups.
Right, okay.
And I was like, that sounds cool, And so, I walked around Shrewsbury, where I was living at the time, nice little market town. Walked into all the coffee shops, didn't mention the TV show. Just said, look, I want to do some pop-ups.
Yeah.
All of them said no, bar one.
Right, okay.
And they said, yeah, cool. I said, brilliant. In that case, I'm doing a TV show. Right. I think it will help sell some tickets.
So they went with your concept and idea before they knew that you was...
Yeah, I didn't want to be like, I didn't want to be that I'm on the TV guy because
give me a gig,
they're all dickheads, aren't they? And yeah, no, they went for it. So then I sort of told them that bit. And first one, we didn't mention it until the show came out. But the first one was, I think it was the week before the show came out. Or it might even be the week before the advert came out. So you just launched your first
pop-up and you're going live on Channel 4.
So it's sold out, but it took a while. I think we did about 20, 30 guests. I can't remember. It was low numbers because I've always done low numbers. Show comes out. I do pretty well in the first episode. The next 2 or 3 that we'd booked sell out straight away, which is brilliant. And then, from there carried on doing pop-ups. Realised I couldn't cook for shit, and I really couldn't. It was embarrassing when you think about it. So
you obviously could though, mate. So let's face it.
I don't know. I don't know. See photos, I think, oh shit. But no, it was nice though. It was, it was growing up in public. It was learning, and it was a different side of hospitality, I guess. And I knew nothing of hospitality. So anyway, decided I couldn't cook. Phoned up a restaurant. I was told the chef was really good. He'd got sort of 3 rosettes. He's in the Michelin guide.
Yeah.
Gave him a call. I was a chef. I want to come work for you for free.
Yeah.
Because I want to, learn
the trade. Yeah.
He was just like, yeah, all right. Free, set of hands.
hands.
Come on, get
You're
in it.
not going to say no, yeah.
Went in there, loved it. He offered me a job. Started working and very quickly decided I hated it because it was one of those bistro places. One nice menu no one ordered from. One shit menu everyone ordered from. And I was making burgers and fish and chips. And I was like, I've left a half-decent job to come and make fish and chips for people. That's not what I want. So carried on doing pop-ups. And then moved jobs a couple of times to sort of get some experience and all that kind of stuff. Did a couple of stagiaires in different places. And then, left. My other half became pregnant with twin boys.
Right, okay.
Which is horrific, frankly. As anyone who's got kids knows it's horrific. Fuck me. And I didn't want to work 80-hour weeks without the kids. Because I've got 4 kids.
Right, yeah, fair enough.
Poppy, my eldest, you met her down.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Super, super father-daughter relationship. Yeah. Super close, apple my all that nonsense. Brilliant. My 11-year-old, I became a chef as she was about a year old. We're not nearly as close because all of a sudden I wasn't there.
Yeah, just not there as much. Yeah, of course.
My relationship with my wife broke down, etc. And a new partner also. So our relationship isn't there. So when Lou became pregnant with the boys, it was like, I don't want that same relationship. I want to, and me and my 11-year-old super close now, which is lovely. But it took a while to get there. So with the boys, it was like, I'm not doing that. So I decided, leaving the industry, just do pop-ups now because we'd use Wild Shropshire as a name by accident, but it was sort of building and building. And one thing led to another. Found a venue that wanted us on a Friday, Saturday night, and that was our first 2 years. Built a not fan base, I don't like the idea. Yeah. And so one thing led to another, and we opened our own place, and
beautiful.
It's been
so just to sort of circle back onto that experience, then pretty early in your food career of this is not the vibe I want to live my life in terms of those 100-hour weeks and crazy shifts and and all that sort of stuff, and it's a sad sort of position where that hospitality puts itself in, really. And,
it is,
and is it changing? I mean, I know your experience is probably
yes, it probably is. I think there's definitely some pushback from maybe the older guys.
Yeah.
By age, I'm an older guy, but I've not been in the industry that long, so I don't count.
But I just hear that story of obviously missing out on some of those early years of your daughters.
Yeah, but I think
growing up, and it's
it's
heartbreaking, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it's shit, and it'll always be something that I regret.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we're sort of in a good place now, and
of course.
We're all happy doing what we want, which is great. But I think because I came into the industry in my early 30s, I'm not as conditioned to it. Some guys get into it at 16.
And you never learn anything. You never done
No,
anything
they
else,
don't know any different.
Yeah, exactly.
My old job, I used to work 3 12-hour days and have 4 days off.
Old job being?
I was a paediatric nurse.
Oh, okay.
I looked after, essentially my job before I left was I looked after kids with diabetes.
Right.
Basically, I told teenage boys to stop drinking Monster energy drinks. That was it. Stop drinking those, you pricks. It wasn't me. But yeah, that was essentially it.
Right, okay.
And and it didn't feel normal to go and do that, and it's not normal to do that. And
it's not, is it? But it has been normalised. That's what I mean.
Completely, and people are conditioned to it. So, and in the restaurant now, we work 3 days a week, and we work 17-hour days sometimes, and they're long old days.
Yeah.
But they're 3 days a week.
Yeah.
You know, it's manageable. You can work those really long hours and still have a life outside of it.
So you're bucking the trend really there, aren't you, in terms of 3 days a week?
Yep. Trying to drop Saturdays and work Wednesdays instead, so we can
And how does that work from a commercial point of view then, in terms of running your own business where it's bucking the trend and it's doing something?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've not gone into this as a 5 day a week or a 6 day a week restaurant and then tried to come down.
You've always been that.
We've always been that, so we've cut our cloth accordingly. Essentially, you know, we've known no different.
Yeah,
so we've made our decisions based on that. The only new one is that I don't want to work Saturdays anymore, which is weird for the staff as well. They can't get their head around it.
What?
That is slightly trickier. We've started that by doing 2 Wednesdays a month, 2 Saturdays a month, with the idea of every 3 months dropping one to becoming 0.
Right, okay, nice.
It was working really well, but maybe this last month and a half, Wednesdays are tight. And I think it's because people, you know, are poor at the moment, aren't they? No one's got any money. And dropping, I don't know, nearly 200 quid each on a Wednesday night is a lot of money for a couple. So
yeah, of course. It's changing, isn't it?
Yeah, so, you know, we're slowly moving that, and we will move out of Saturdays so that we can, you know, we can spend, I mean, my kids are at school. Yeah. You know, they're at school Monday to Friday. Saturday, I'm at work all day, and they don't see me. It's shit. Yeah. So
flip on its head, break the cycle.
Yeah. However, I've got my sous chef and my restaurant manager. They're a married couple.
All right, okay.
Never ever want kids.
Right.
And so this idea of not working weekends in hospitality
it's like, what?
Completely blows their mind. And Amelia
don't
especially.
Want kids, but want a restaurant then.
Yeah, they're just like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, you know, they've got designs on their own restaurant, and I keep saying to James, use the venue. Yeah. Go find some other venues. You know, they're based in Chester, so there's millions of venues. Places, You want this type of restaurant, go and do pop-ups and build it and build it and build it and build a brand. Eventually you can leave me and you've got something. You're not just skipping from one restaurant to the next. But I think even that as an idea is sort of not mind-blowing, but it's different.
It's very different to your classical route of, go and learn your trade and go through the ranks and be classically trained by one of the big names in the industry or whatever, and go down that route. So
completely.
No, it's interesting. I mean, obviously, I've had the pleasure to eat your menu and eat at your place, and the quality of the food and the ideas behind everything that you do is brilliant. So I think what's really refreshing is to speak to someone that's not had that classical sort of entry into the industry. And how did you find that from a? I know you're sort of in the sticks a little bit where you are in
Shropshire. We are.
It's not like you're in the big city and it's the hustle bustle of maybe competing with other people within the industry. But do you think that has a negative or positive impact on how people maybe perceive your restaurant or you as a chef? Or
I initially think it was not negative, but you know, I've kind of gone in there with this quite modern style of cooking in a very, how can I put this? It's a very conservative sort of country. You know, it's in the sticks. Yeah. It's not London. It's not Manchester. You know, and people are sort of. This sounds going to sound awful, but just a few years behind, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just
you're right.
You know, trends are sort of further forward in London. So I come in with this Nordic cooking or this Japanese cooking, the kind of fusion thing I want to do. This modern British, and it's not what you're getting in the pub down the road or the restaurant down the road. And I think there's a bit of a kickback initially because it was like, what the fuck is this? You know, this isn't why. And we got these,
local people like, what is going on?
A long menu with tiny portions, and like, who's this pretentious prick? But eventually, you know, we'd done it in such a way so that, and this was when we were at the bed and breakfast doing 2 nights a week. Yeah. If it didn't work one month, we were going month to month, so we could just walk away.
Pop-up style.
Yeah, it's like, it don't work, brilliant.
Move on,
fuck off.
Do something different.
And which was really great for my other half as well, because my other half's very risk averse. She's a farmer's daughter, doesn't like spending money. She won't listen to this, so it's fine. I can say that. She didn't want to listen to me talk shit. And I think she needed that stepping stone to, because I was like, I've got this idea for a restaurant. And she's like, no one's going to be interested. And to some degree, she was right, but also wrong. But no, it took a while to find our little niche. And we are a little niche. You know, we're never going to do 50 guests a night. And I don't want to do that. But, you know, we went to Cartmel to Loncloom. Yeah. The best meal I've had in this country. It was 10 years ago. Unbelievable. Yeah. It's fuck all there. Like, how did... I mean, I know sort of Rogan had got a reputation before he opened Loncloom, but how does Loncloom become Loncloom when there's nobody there?
There's nobody there.
There's nothing, they've got the racetrack, and
The
which isn't
racetrack.
really a racetrack, is it? It's a bit of grass.
It's a racetrack,
It's
mate.
fucking it. And
Bit of sticky toffee pudding,
yeah,
local place.
that's good stuff.
I mean, we've got a place up in the lake, so
Nice.
I've grown up in and around sort of that area anyway. So I have been to Cartmel quite a lot as a kid, but the only reason we'd go to Cartmel was for the racing, and it's not. I mean, I'm a bit of a horse racing fan as well, so yeah. But it's not real horse racing. Do you know what I mean? You're betting on donkeys, really. Mate, but you're right though, in terms of a place that's in the sticks, away from anywhere, any big cities, and generate that sort of food culture of a place.
Innisea would be the other one, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Down sort of outside of Machynlleth, which is there's nothing there,
away,
and it took us 3.5, 4 hours to drive down there and back again. There's nothing there. There's no reason to go there other than that restaurant and
that place. Yeah.
I want to be that essentially.
Yeah, you want to be that.
I want to be so brilliant that people come for just for us.
Love it, mate. So in terms of obviously where you're at now with Wild Shropshire, I suppose it's be interested to, because we've probably done a big leap there in terms of TV program. Wanted to learn how to cook. You said you couldn't cook.
Couldn't cook.
You gone to a few more bistro style kitchens. So how did you create your style and your inspirations to what you're cooking today? How did you make that leap from cooking in bistros to learning more fine dining elements?
I mean, I don't think I even meant to be fine dining. I was interested in this style of cookery. My head chef on my first day there gave me a load of books, French stuff, French Laundry, La Dame de Pique, things like that, and also the Noma book.
Right. Okay.
And I'd also go on my break and read the Fabricant book in Waterstones.
Right.
2 Scandinavian chefs, and that was just like I'd see the more sort of French classical stuff, and I'd recognise that because I'd seen it on TV, and it's it's stuff I recognise. You'd look at Noma and you'd look at Fabricant and like, what the fuck is this? It was like
so
I'd never seen anything like it.
Have you been to?
I've been to Noma. Noma was brilliant. I'd never get to Fabricant. They decided they were going to close, didn't announce it, and then sold it out, and then said, "Oh, we're closing. That's it." So I was gutted. I'm gutted I never went. But it's one of those things.
But you took those inspirations from maybe away from that classical French.
Yeah, and it's
that Scandi sort of.
I can't remember who it was talking about. They were talking about your stage where you essentially copy everyone into your own. You found your style stage, and I think we're kind of getting there now, which is nice. But no, a lot of it was early sort of trying to copy these Scandinavian ideas because it talks about ingredients, and they talk about sorrels and pineapple weed and all these things I recognise from my garden.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's very normal to cook with coconuts or pineapples or things from thousands and thousands of miles away, but it's not normal to use things from our gardens and our locality. And that sort of spoke to me for some reason. I don't know why, but I'd loved Hugh Funny Whittenstall before I was a real chef as well, so maybe that sort of subconsciously sort of was in there.
So you instantly sort of had that idea of if you were ever to
it connected
open your
straight
own
away.
place, it was going to be more farm to fork, to use the phrase.
Yeah.
But that real sort of provenance of local produce, as little waste as possible.
That was certainly something that came back later on. When you first start and it's like, shit, I need to learn to cook. How can I do these? You're pushing yourself with these recipes that you're copying. Not copying per se, but you'll take a technique and it's like, shit, I don't know how to do this, and you kind of. And 99% of your brain space is taken up with that.
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm a little bit more sort of comfortable in my skin. We can start looking at the other elements of the business, which is like the waste and all that kind of stuff. But no, it was very much. How can we? These are the things that interest me, so that's what I want to do.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
You listen to music, you're in a band. You play the music that interests you, not necessarily what you think is.
And do you play music?
I used to sing in a band. I was pretty
dreadful.
dreadful.
Sing in a band.
Sing is a loose word. Very loose. But no, I used to play in this band that was, very noisy and abrasive and very much part of the sort of DIY community. So, you put in your own shows and you release your own records, and that is very much translated to how we've done the restaurant. No investors. We're not asking people for help. We're doing it ourselves, and we'll build it bit by bit by bit. It's quite interesting seeing how those lessons we learned touring and playing shows and trying to release records has translated to...
So it's more your philosophy as a person as well as just
I think
the
so,
projects that you've been involved in. It's more
being very self-sufficient, I guess, and
okay.
just being really bloody minded about things, saying this is what I'm going to fucking do. How are we going to get there?
Yeah.
And David Chang, I think, there's a quote where he says he's been equal parts brave and stupid at the same time.
Right. Nice.
And that resonates with me brilliantly. It's like, let's open this ridiculous restaurant in this tiny little market town that no one gives a shit about in the middle of nowhere. And it's working. Touch wood. So far.
There you go. I completely empathise with you on that. I'm trying to start up a champagne business from Wigan. Like, who's drinking champagne, right? So yes, it's completely get where you're coming from with that, which is great because it's so refreshing to hear that unique sort of take on how you got into the industry. And so you launched Wild Shropshire. It was always called Wild Shropshire.
No, we started. So we're doing these pop-ups, and I can't remember what we were called beforehand. It was some sort of just sort of James is here type of bullshit. And we went to this one coffee shop and we decided to theme them because I was interested in different themes. Mm-hmm. One of them was called Wild Shropshire because I wanted to really sort of get into that, sort of really look at that foraging thing. That one did really well. And people kept going into the coffee shop saying, is this where the Wild Shropshire is?
Right, okay.
So it stuck. Hate the name.
You don't like the name?
No, it's shit.
Why?
You hear that,
Yeah, but you say some of your dishes are shit and they're fucking brilliant.
No, they're fucking not. No, but like, listen, look at other restaurants, you think, Alchemia, really good name. Yoro, really good name. Pine, really good name. Wild Shropshire, it's just bullshit. But there we go.
There you go. So you launched in 2019. Or the idea was you found the venue in 2019.
Yeah, so we've been a pop-up for a wee while, and then we found the venue, it was sort of November, December 2019. Yeah. The idea was to open at the end of January, so we finished that pop-up at the end of December. We were going to spend a month, get it going.
Yeah.
And then while we were trying to do our alcohol license for there was a problem with the classification of the building. Right, okay. I was told it had got the right classification. It hadn't, so we had to go through a quite long-winded, expensive process.
Another process, yeah.
So we were then due to open, I think it was, I don't know if it was the end of the March or beginning of April, but basically Boris did his first lockdown speech on the Wednesday. Our opening night was the Friday after. And we were sort of, everyone knew it was coming.
But
we were waiting for it to happen.
But until it actually was said, you still sort of...
You know what, I think... I can't remember the time his speech was, but literally I think his speech was 7 o'clock, finished at 7:10, 7:11, had an email, are we getting a refund? I was like, give me a fucking second to,
man.
just... Literally, that was obviously the first thing they'd done.
You're not even open yet?
No.
So people asking refunds and you're not even opened?
Because they got to pay up front for it, so I'm not...
like, come on.
I was just like, give me a fucking second to process. You know
That's guess, mate.
Yeah, it is. Tricky subject.
But yeah, so you launched. So then, obviously, that didn't deter you from opening eventually.
No. We did a little pop-up bakery for a while, Danishes,
right? Because you kept things going
kind of thing
through lockdown and stuff.
Yeah, well, there's another nice restaurant up the road, Michelin guide. Really nice guy, very stylistically completely different, which is really lovely. So there's no sort of stepping on toes or anything like that. And they got that. People started doing the box meals, didn't they?
Yeah, we cook at home type thing.
Yeah, and they got that nailed on and was really good. They were really good at it, and it didn't really feel like it fit what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
So opened a bakery, did some sort of
did that instead of
delivery sourdough, all that kind of stuff. It was nice. It was
And you survived. You got through it. So
I got survived, and then we opened for a bit and closed for a bit and opened for a bit and
closed. Yeah.
And then, which is it's difficult because you're trying to get staff and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And staff must be difficult anyway with where
it is. I think. Yeah, I mean, we've not got that
geographically wise.
Yeah, people. We're one of those towns that people don't come into.
Yeah.
They get to 18, they go to uni, and they move out.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll come back in their 30s or their 40s when they want kids. But so for a while, it was kids. Just sort of throwing plates at the table. It was hard work, and it affected the cooking because I was always on my own in the kitchen. And there was always one eye on the dining room and say, what the fuck are they doing now? Do you know what I mean? Even things like the wine flights.
Yeah.
I'd deliver the flights between cooking. And I'd give them the most basic amount of information because, I've looked on Google on my phone for 2 minutes. Because we couldn't find a sommelier or anything or afford one.
Trying to keep the pans going on the back. Yeah,
completely. It's only maybe the last year and a half we had one of our guests come on she came on as a sommelier initially. Yeah. She'd got no experience, but I've always tried to get staff who've got the right... maybe not attitude, that's the wrong phrase. But Jo came in as an ex-teacher, so she can talk to people.
Yeah.
If you're a sommelier, you've got to be able to talk to people.
Of course. Yeah.
Anyone can learn information, not everyone can disseminate that information. So she came on.
Transferable skills.
Completely. Yeah. That lifted things slightly, and then we got my other Jo, who got two sommeliers both called Jo, two chefs both called James at the moment.
So if you got Jo at Wild Shropshire, guys, change your name to Jo or James.
That's the thing, yeah. And we've got a stagiaire at the moment called Jamie. It's a fucking nightmare.
5 days, that's your new band.
Fucking hell, honestly. No one needs that in their life again. Yeah, so then Joe came on. He'd been to Carter's, so he got some pedigree to him.
Yeah,
he got a lot of knowledge. I've not met anyone in the industry in restaurants who's got as much knowledge. Yeah. He's brilliant. So he came on, lifted the levels, and then I got a couple of other staff, Amelia and James, who've come on, and it's just, again, as soon as you get somebody who's got a bit of pedigree, it attracts other people with pedigree, and it gives you a bit better reputation. It just builds and builds and builds, doesn't it? Yeah. So
obviously that's how we met through Joe in the end.
Yeah, completely.
We met at an event, and you get chatting this way or the other, and then.
But without starting the pop up, so the first Joe, she came to our opening night of our pop up in the bed and breakfast. Had I've not done there, she wanted to come on.
Never come in, and then
she went to eat at
for a reason, doesn't it?
Exactly. She went to eat at Carter's. Was telling Joe about the restaurant.
So that's how you met.
His partner had got family not far from us, and one thing leads to another.
Of course it does.
And so there we go.
Fair enough, mate. So then so you've opened now post lockdown.
Yeah.
Things are flowing. Your team's sort of starting to get there. It's getting there. So talk to me a little bit about this farm. So you've got a farm in Whitchurch, or just outside Whitchurch.
Yeah. Farm's a very strong word for what we've got.
That's what I mean. So it's how does that come into your menu, and how does it fit?
So I say farm's a strong word. When I see farms, I see these big old things. Yeah. My in-laws are retired dairy farmers. They decided they were going to sell up. I'd always wanted restaurant and rooms. So they left us a little plot of land. Right. Well, they left my partner. It's not actually my farm. I've got no legal ownership, so she dumps me. I'm in the shit, frankly. So, yeah, I do love Lou. Have such a laugh.
Yeah, we love you too.
I've lost the plot. So they left us this plot of land. I wanted to put a restaurant and rooms there. Struggling with planning to get it through and stuff. And we decided we'd start growing stuff on the other side.
Okay. Nice.
Joe, lady sommelier, her husband Jeff, he runs the farm for me.
Right,
and basically we decided, you know what, we've got this plot of land, let's grow some veg for the farm, for the restaurant, let's put an orchard in there, we've got some bees, we've got a little mushroom thing going on. And at the moment, we're about 95% of the produce we serve is from the farm. Nice. Sort of veg-wise, not our own animals or anything. I'm not ready for husbandry yet or anything like that. So it's brilliant. It's what, 20 metres from my house, so I can walk there every day, see what's about, and we can swivel dishes as we want. And
you've got dishes on the menu as well now that are 100%.
Yeah, well, that's actually we had one that was 100% from the farm. It was brilliant. It was the first one that we've managed to do. The snow hit recently, and that fucked it. So literally,
what was that dish?
It was one of those dishes that was better than the sum of it was greater than the sum of its parts. It doesn't sound that much. So we would take whatever vegetables. This
service again, mate. Come on.
I know, whatever vegetables we had that day. We would take them and we would cut them very finely, sort of little brunoise cut, so super, super fine, super, super fresh, picked 3 hours beforehand, a little broth made from the same things. And because it was so fresh, because it was so clean, there was nothing in there that was sort of diluting it. It was vibrant as fuck. And you'd give it to people and you see them kind of go, whoa, what the fuck is that?
And would you tell them?
No. We'd tell them it was all from the farm. We'd sort of give them that story that we're not going to tell you what this is. However, this is the only dish tonight that is 100% from the farm.
So you tell that story before you serve it, even though they've not got the menu yet, obviously.
Yeah, because it kind of, it sort of brings in that concept of, actually, we're really working with the farm now. It's not just some sort of thing that's down the road and, because you hear about these restaurants they've got farms with them, but actually they're ordering from fucking Wellocks for 90% of their ingredients. We're not that.
Bookers for the
yeah, completely. But no, it's most of it. And there's some bits we can't, we use loads of seaweed. I can't get that from the farm.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Although I did actually once, we marked the stuff from the farm on the restaurant in a different colour.
Yeah.
Sorry, the stuff from the farm, different colour on the menu so that it's sort of visual representation.
Yeah.
And we use kelp a lot from Cornwall. And I put Cornwall in that same colour. And so I said to me, how the hell are you growing seaweed? It's like, well, I built a big pond, filled it with seawater. Fuck, that's really clever, isn't it? I was like, you fucking idiots.
They're having it. Oh, because you just put the font in the wrong colour on the menu.
Yeah, pretty much. But I fessed up to that. But no, it's nice because we've, it's food as it should be. It's real. It's
because what I really enjoyed from your food was that continuity element between some of the dishes throughout, Yeah, throughout the full menu. So you'd start with something, or a little broth would appear at the start, and then it would appear in the meat dish or whatever, or something similar, or similar ingredients.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's by design, and that's something that cuts our guests a little bit. I was talking to someone recently that ate with us and loved it. On the back of her recommendation, a friend came, and she didn't like that repetition of ingredients.
She didn't. Right,
no,
okay.
she
Well,
thought
it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, but for me, it's. And I go back to music, and I'm going to sound like a wanker now, but you listen to an album, while the songs change, the voice stays the same generally, and so you've got that constant voice through, and that's how we do it with ingredients. So we use a lot of seaweed instead of salt. We use a lot of not citrus. We use a lot of acidity. And I'll pick the vinegar for that day. So we've got the lab at home as well, which is like it's a converted sugar container where we ferment stuff and distill stuff and shit like that. I can go out there and I'm like, right, rose vinegar. That's going to be our vinegar of the day. So we'll use that same vinegar as we go through. Nice. So it's not one of my dislikes with tasting menus is that it's lots of dishes are all very disparate, all very different. They don't. It's like listening to the radio. You know what I mean? And so I try to go the other way with that. Some people really love that side of it. Others are just.
Well, it's just doing.
They think it's a cop out. I think sometimes, and I get that because it's not. Okay. 6 million different ingredients.
But you're not going to please everyone, are you?
No, not at all.
Especially not in this game.
No, I've got no real interest in that, to be honest. It's I'm that guy that would much rather, if the restaurant doesn't work,
stick to your
philosophy,
doesn't work. Do what you want to do, and
I'd rather go work for someone than sort of do a watered down version because, and you know what, having a business is fucking hard work, isn't it?
Tough, mate.
We spend a lot of time looking at VAT returns, doing taxes, playing employee
I was having
tax.
fun then until you mentioned that.
Do you know what I mean? But so that like
it's not all drinking champagne.
Yeah, is it? But that 3 hours when I'm cooking has got to be everything you want it to be.
Yeah.
Even if they're not enjoying it, it's got to satisfy me first, and then hopefully that'll transpose itself onto the dining room. Sorry, but
enough people are obviously enjoying it, mate, because then you got the recommendation obviously on the Michelin guide.
Yeah,
so how did that come
good.
About? And
again, it's completely anonymous, isn't it? So we had a booking for a one. So you get a table of one.
Yeah.
We're not like. I go to restaurants as a table of one because my other half's not interested in food, really. But I'm obviously a chef, and you can look at my name. If you
can work out off the
as a bookings team, you can look at my name and go James Sherwin chef. There we go, cool. Yeah. And I'm obviously a chef, and you can look at people's names or whatever, and you can find them. You can work out who and what they are. This person had this name and this email address had no
link, honestly.
Sort of social.
Do they use fake email addresses or not? Is that just like a myth?
I don't know. I mean, we contact them and stuff like that. Yeah. So, we work out, we offset their mileage and stuff with trees at the moment. So, last time they came, we had asked them where they're coming from. They didn't respond to that. So, they responded to the email, but they didn't respond to that bit. But yeah, we sort of got this table of one, and they got cancelled because of COVID. And I did think, why is anybody as a one coming to Sleepy Whitchurch on a Thursday where there's nothing?
So pretty early doors then that someone was looking at you.
Yeah, it was. I think we've been open a month or so.
Right, flipping out, impressive.
And then they remade the booking for when we reopened. Right. I was like, okay, so why is someone on a Wednesday night coming to Whitchurch? There's nothing here. So in my head, I was like, oh, maybe. And it was, sort of. I think they came to us on the 3rd or the 4th of December, and then on Christmas Eve, sat in soft play, wanting to die because it's just soft play on Christmas Eve. Do you know what I mean? And I get this tweet on my phone saying Michelin Guide mentioned you in the tweet.
Found out
and that was it.
And right, okay.
Yeah, I won't lie, I did get a little bit emotional myself, and Lou was at work, and I texted Lou, I was like, Lou, it's Michelin Guide, this is fucking brilliant. And the fact that they've tweeted about us means they're going to put us in the guide. If they thought they were shit, they wouldn't have. If they thought we were shit, they wouldn't have mentioned us. So we got into the guide that year, that was brilliant. We got into the guide in January, we had to close for it 4 or 5 months, and they came again a few weeks after we reopened, which I thought was a really good sign. Yeah. I obviously fucked something up that time because they didn't come again for another year or so. But no, they've been a few times now. They've been more times than we've been open years, which I always think is
that's cool, mate. Yeah, fair play.
I think is
fair play.
Really
and so, did you see an uplift in things when that happened, or I think pretty early in the restaurant? But
I think people started taking us seriously as a restaurant at that point. At that point, we were just some no-name restaurant in the middle of a market town that was doing no one gives a shit about. We're trying to do our thing, but nobody knows who we are. You see the Michelin plaque on the wall, or you see us in the guide. You search in Michelin restaurants in Shropshire.
It does instantly just make people think. Yeah.
All of a sudden, brilliant. Okay, cool. Maybe that's a little link to TripAdvisor then, or Google or whatever. And one thing that... So,
God
yes.
bless the Google review, mate.
They're all right at the moment. There's a couple. But yeah, so, it was brilliant. I mean, I say this to everyone. I drive down to the restaurant, every day. Yeah. Every day I see that little plaque and it makes me smile because it's just... it's not even like... Customers tell me we're great, and that's great because they're spending money and they're enjoying it. But your peers telling you actually you're doing something quite interesting it's a big fucking thing.
Yeah, it's massive.
And it was and Michelin's as big as it gets. It's the big
exactly.
one, isn't it?
It is. As much as you can say, oh, it's not all about Michelin and this, that, and the other, but it does play a big impact within the industry, doesn't it?
It does,
whether you like it or not, and not to just talk about that as a concept solely, but it does. It makes a massive impact. And that's not saying people should aim just for that accolade, and that's not the be all and end all. But it is. It must be that sense of we're doing something right.
Yeah, I think so. And we talk about this a lot at the restaurant because I've managed to surround myself annoyingly with people who are also very ambitious, which cost me a fortune. You can imagine. This idea, I want to do this. Let's do this. Which is great, and it's pushing us all the time. But it's and Michelin is that big thing that they all want, and
so your team have bought into that.
Yeah, and it's something I want. I want it in a slightly different way to they want it. Maybe I think they want it as a CV thing.
Right. Yeah.
Because
part of this getting which is great, isn't it, for young people coming into working for you, and for you it's your pride, it's your heart and soul, isn't it?
I was talking to my 17-year-old, and so she's been in the industry she helped me out taking payments when we were selling bread as a bakery.
This is Poppy, obviously.
Poppy we met. Yeah. She's about to go to uni, but she's gone from that to pot wash to starting working front of house as the most socially awkward teenager you've ever met, to this young woman now who can hold her own and would make an incredible sommelier if she gave up the idea of university. But I'm hoping she
goes to uni in Manchester though.
She's going. Hopefully, she's waiting for Manchester to.
Right, so
offer.
Hopefully, she gets that gig and then little part-time gig somewhere in the city centre.
Scarf, Connor, if you're listening, Tom.
Come on.
Yeah. Actually, Tom was a head. I got engaged at Longclume.
All right, okay, cool.
Tom,
it was my honeymoon at Longclume.
Oh, did you? Nice.
We did.
I saw Tom at the National Restaurant Awards a few months ago.
Yeah.
And I went up to him. I was like, Tom, you won't remember me. He's like, you're the guy I may get on his knees, aren't you? I'm like, yeah. Maybe get down on my knee and do it in front of the pass.
Love it.
Arsehole.
Nice.
Lovely guy. So
Tom, if you're listening.
Yeah, she wants a job. She's pretty good.
Yeah, she's going to be good.
Yeah, she breaks too many glasses, but,
It's all right. Don't we all?
But there we go. Yeah, really are.
Love it, mate. Love it. So Wild Shropshire now then, you're, 4 years into the project?
Getting that way, I think so,
4 years into the project?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, it's getting there. It's tough at the moment.
Of course.
Yeah, it's there's definitely this tough. Last year there's been we used to be sort of sold out 3-4 months in advance, which was great. And although we'd piss people off because I'd phone up, have a table Saturday. It's like, you can't have a table this month, mate. Do you know what I mean? Or this quarter even. Yeah. It's slower now. It's harder. I think people are a little bit more careful with them. And we started off much cheaper, and we've had to put our prices up because we're trying to attain things and.
It's a common theme, isn't it, across the whole industry? So you're not on your own there, man.
And it's but it's getting harder and harder, but we're getting better and better. Yeah. So it's And you feel that? You feel like every not every service, but you know what I mean. Every menu you're putting out there is just getting better. Yeah, I think and whether that be because I've had better front of house staff come in, so I've not got to keep one over there
a little bit and focus more.
Or James has come in, and James is my sous chef or head chef. He can call himself what he wants. Yeah. I'm the boss, so
just another James.
Completely. But he's come in with he's got this real Mexican sort of thing about his cooking, which is completely sort of alien to me, which is great. And he's come in, he's adding all these bits and pieces and just making everything that that bit better, which is great. So I can look back a year ago and think, better than we were a year ago. Yes, it's slightly harder to get people through the door, but I don't think I'm fairly confident it's not us. I'm sure it's the climate outside.
100%, mate. I mean, probably difficult question for you this, because when you served us, you'd be raw, you'd be honest.
Yep.
And I'm presuming you like that with all your guests.
Completely.
So you would give us something on the pass, and you'd say, "This will be the best thing you'll taste tonight."
Yep.
And even though we've got maybe 3 or 4 dishes coming, or you say, "This is shit, but everyone loves it."
Yeah.
And it is shit. It's shit. And you think it's shit, and it wasn't. It was great. I think it was the carrot.
It was a carrot dish. We cook it for sort of 2 days in butter, and it had a little lobster sauce with it. And it's shit. Shit, people love it. I was going to take it off the menu, and the night I was like, right, this is the last night. Every table was like, yeah, that's the one.
That's the one, mate.
I was like, no, it's not. You're wrong. But you know,
So the question is then, what is your not your guess then? What is your personal favourite dish at the moment on the menu?
So
obviously it changes, but
yeah, so you'll have had it. It was a scallop dish, I think.
yes,
Yeah. And I probably would have sold it to you. This is the nicest thing you'll eat tonight, except for the bread sauce. So it's a roasted scallop. We do it in a slightly different way. I first tried scallops in Copenhagen, because Copenhagen's the centre of the world. They're always raw over there.
Yeah, because this is where you gave the story of we've cooked it wrong.
Yeah, essentially.
But you're gonna love it.
And then Joe comes along and he's like, roast it, go on, roast it. I'm like, no, I don't need to roast it. So we kind of found this centre part place where it's super raw in the middle,
But still.
super buttery on the outside and cooked hard. I think it's delicious. And then you have a little fermented onion sauce with it, seasoned with a bit of koji. And it was like that for a while and it was brilliant. And then James came along and he's like, I've got this idea for a mole, which is like this sort of Mexican sauce.
Yeah.
All British ingredients. Add a little bit of mole to it and it's just fucking stratosphere with it.
Oh,
that's my favourite dish. But I'd always eat fish. I wouldn't eat meat on a menu.
Right, okay.
I love fish, so and it's a scallop, and it's a scallop the way I like it. So
Nice.
yeah,
No, it was
the scallop is good.
The whole menu was memorable, but yeah, the scallop dish was, and the carrot dish that you hate, but everyone loves.
You know, I said it's not like it's a speech, but like, you know, I'm always honest about it. I don't think this dish right, and it's quite nice though, and I think because people buy into that a little
Again,
bit.
shoulders then are relaxed, aren't they? When the chef's coming over saying that.
And I don't know with that dish if it's, you know, because there's no menu, we don't tell you anything.
How's that perceived? Is that like 50-50 people love it, people hate it, or is it 90% people love it, or I don't know?
It's a journey.
Yeah, it's a journey.
So I've got a story around this we'll get to in a second. So it does say on our website, we don't give you the menu, we don't tell you anything. You'll have the menu.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah. A lot of people, there's only so much, you know, there's only so many places I can give them the information. If they've not looked at it, it's not my fault. So they'll come in, I'll say there's no menu, and usually one person on the table who's booked it knows about it, but he's not told anybody else.
He's not told anyone else. Which is cool.
Yeah.
Part of the experience.
You know, hospitality, you learn to read faces very quickly. Some of them straight away are like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, love
Others, you can see they kind of go white and like, yeah. And I generally say to them, look, invariably, most people get to the end and they've absolutely loved that concept of it because it's a little journey and it's an experience and there's that little, almost like, and I don't mean this is a byproduct, I didn't mean to, it's almost like the gamification of it.
Yeah.
What we eating? What's this? What do you think
It's
this
a
is?
little bit like, what's
You know
that?
what I mean?
What's this?
Is that like little conversation, especially as a table of four maybe? What do you think this is? What, and, you know, some people write notes, some people take photos, do what they want. I don't care what they do, you know, it's as long as they enjoy it, as long as they drink loads of booze and make me some money. We did have a guest not long ago who I told this, and she looked petrified, and that's fine.
Yeah,
you know, some
enough.
people do.
Yeah.
But, you know, you go along with it. We're all adults, you know. About 3 or 4 courses in, Poppy comes up to me and says, this lady says she wants a menu. She can't eat anything. She doesn't know what she's eating. I was like, okay. And, you know, initially I'm like, well, that's not what we do, you know, because, you know, I became a bit of a twat about it. But I went over with my hospitality smile and my hospitality voice. I was like, you know, deliver the bread to her. Here's the bread course. Yeah, I'm not telling you what the dip is, but here's the bread. Poppy says you really want a menu. That's not what we do. You know, we do it like this for a reason. And I said I could give you the menu and it would give you nothing. It wouldn't tell you anything.
You still wouldn't
I'd
know
say,
enough of what's in it.
You know, I sort of said to her, tonight's final dessert is yuzu and fig leaf. That's what it says on the menu. And she was like, oh. I was like,
right, okay.
So you knowing isn't going to tell you anything?
Yeah.
She was like, right, okay. And she kept saying, I just enjoy it more. And I was like, that's fine, but that's not what we do.
Yeah,
so, you know, in the nicest way possible, I said no, and I went back to the kitchen to carry on cooking. That night, she refused to eat a single thing. Her husband sat and ate 2 of everything.
Oh, so her husband had
having a great fucking time. Just like, he got a massive smile on his face. She sat with her hands in her pocket. Not a single thing.
What?
And he was like, and you know how small the restaurant is.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
you can see everyone's reactions. It was a quiet night.
The other guests must have been looking and thinking,
everyone's aware of what's going on. And so, and he's sort of saying, oh, this tastes like this to me and this to me. And he's obviously given her like these cues of things she'd like. But I mean, I'd even said to her, you know, she said, I worry about eating things I don't like. Or what don't you like? I don't like offal. I don't like this. I don't like that. I was like, there's none of any of those things on the menu.
Yeah, so you can relax,
you know what I mean?
maybe,
I get that, you know, but there's none of that, you know.
Because there isn't really any controversial ingredient. Not that offal's controversial, but for some people, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, completely.
There isn't anything on the menu that people might go.
But no, refused to eat everything, and then...
So her husband just sat there whilst she didn't eat anything and...
Yeah, ate all of it, had some wine, had a great time.
Wow.
I went over, did the chat.
Post service. Before.
He asked questions about the food. She had a little moan. My smile did start to sort of crack a little bit at the end. And I was just like, you didn't like it. You're a fucking adult. Grow up. Fuck off. And that sounds really horrible. I'm not a horrible guy.
It's not horrible, mate.
Like You're
not the horrible one.
We are the most welcoming restaurant in the world. We will do as much as we humanly can to make you happy. We've got a guest who, much to Joe's dismay, has to have lemonade in her wine. I'm telling the sommelier now. Is he gipping?
I'm not sommelier. Don't call me sommelier. But that is crazy.
But you know what? And we will get her
Fair
exactly
enough,
the
then.
lemonade she wants when she comes in. She didn't have to ask for it now. She books. It's there.
Fair enough.
And we will do we'll do everything we can to make people happy. We had another guest who'd she had a problem with her hand and really struggled. Like picking food up with a fork. So we always made sure she had plates with a rim around it so it could almost butt against it.
Right, fair enough.
We will go to the nth degree, but we don't give you a menu, and that's what it is. So fucking grow up. I sound like I'm being horrible again.
No,
I'm
you're
not,
right.
but I just...
Can I ask how old this certain lady was, or is that giving too much info?
I would...
I think she'll be watching this podcast now thinking, James just did a podcast, I'm gonna tune in.
If she hasn't left a TripAdvisor, she certainly will now. She was older than... I'm 46. She was older than me, but younger than my mum.
That's all I need to know. Yeah.
There you go. So in that age bracket somewhere.
Yeah. Love it. Brilliant.
But
you're not going to please everyone, are you, mate?
No, not at all.
And that's the thing with hospitality, isn't it? I mean, I was saying to you earlier, I love looking at Google reviews and TripAdvisor reviews of my favourite restaurants that I know are shit hot.
Yeah.
And are, incredible, and everything about them's great. And you will still find some knobhead 1-star reviews of just the most ridiculous things. Like, I brought my kid to the restaurant who's 5 and he started screaming and the chef wasn't happy. Well, he's not going to be, is he? Because it's no kid's restaurant. But he still served you. He still served you some food, and just little things like that. You're always going to...
I find with TripAdvisor reviews, I read them. I check TripAdvisor every day, and I hate TripAdvisor, but I'm a chef, I hate it. But you almost have to find there's one single complaint in a TripAdvisor review, and there's all this fluff around it.
Yeah.
So our last review, we've got all our reviews excellent, bar we've got a couple of averages and one awful. And the
2 now. The lady's going to be on it.
Yeah, she'll be on there. Chef's a twat. So the title is something like "Great concept, let down by the food."
Ugh.
Bastard. So you read the review, and essentially the crux of the review is he didn't have enough food, because he comes back to the volume of food given about 6 times, but in different ways. So it has all these other sort of separate complaints, which are nonsense. But essentially,
they pick on everything. Then, don't they? There's one.
I think it's almost
to. Off, then.
Well, I think it's almost to
justify that.
Justify that silly little thing, and I mean, I can't do anything. I can do some better volume of food, but you have to pay some more money, so it's not happening.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Love it.
But
not to finish on a negative, but I think it's great to see and listen to your journey from that one idea of you filled out this form on Twitter, and next thing you know, you're in the Michelin Guide, mate. Fair play to you, mate.
I was gonna tweet when we got it. I was gonna tweet Nigella actually, say look at this, look at the change, and I thought no, don't bother. She was cool though, actually.
Was the chef panel cool? What was Bourdain like?
They were. Bourdain. Oh,
it's cool.
Anthony Bourdain. I mean, he's the coolest guy in the world, isn't he? And he was very cool. He'd sit around drinking Guinness while everyone's cooking. So you'd have these challenges you'd be cooking, and I wasn't in his team. I was in Ludo, the French guy, because I thought he was probably technically the best cook. Yeah. And
he's a 3-star chef.
Yeah, exactly. And my thought process going into it was, I'm probably all right with flavours, but my technique is probably shit.
Fair enough.
And I thought Nigella's all about flavour, maybe not technique. I'm not being disparaging. She's fucking brilliant. And I'd say probably the same about Bourdain.
Yeah.
Whereas Ludo's, technique.
Technical.
First time he made mashed potatoes of 50% butter and 50% potato, I thought, what the fuck is that? But it was great. And it was great. And now I'm a chef and I cook stuff.
Doing it, mate. Yeah. You are a chef. Love it.
Sometimes.
Even though you tell me you this is the shit when you serve us. Love it. So, moving on. Now you are a chef, mate. And you finally called yourself a chef. Well done.
Wow.
We're going to move on to our little segment, Cellar 101.
Yeah.
So, we've asked you to prepare something that you would like to throw into our Room 101 style Cellar 101. So, The floor is yours. You have to convince me that it goes into Cellar 101. So I might not agree with you, or I might play devil's. I might agree with you and just be a knobhead, be like that diner, and just refuse to eat your food. And I'll let Steve have 2 courses.
There you go. Yeah, I love it.
So what would you like to throw into Cellar 101?
Caviar.
Wow.
Fucking bullshit.
That is like a fucking mic drop. That.
Okay, let me. I think it's René Redzepi that described it as aeroplane food. No, my problem with caviar is, and it's a new thing probably the last couple of years, every high-end restaurant puts caviar on every single fucking dish. Stop charging 200 quid, charge 100 quid, drop the caviar, it's bullshit. You know what I mean? You wouldn't, like, we talk about repeated ingredients and how people don't like, and then you see some menus and every single course has got caviar on it. Or truffles. Truffles could fuck off as well. I've got no problem with caviar as a thing and no problem with truffles as a thing. You should like exactly, truffles. I do. It's just that idea that, like, it's not even for the dish, it's for the sake of luxury. And that makes it bullshit.
Fair enough.
And it's not even real luxury, like, that forager who goes out and spends hours looking for little plants that we then have to process, that's luxury because we've gone to, it's been really hard to get to that. That chef that's bought in a tin of caviar to stick, 10 grams on everything, it's bullshit. Fuck off. I don't like it. It makes everything very samey. Do you know what I mean? It's not even just the flavour wise, but the restaurants, all the same restaurants have all got the same caviar and everything. It's just... And they've all got the signature caviars. It's bullshit.
But if I'm a guest going to, and paying a fortune for this experience, I'm gonna want luxury ingredients, and a luxury ingredient is caviar.
I get that, but if you've got to put a luxury ingredient onto a dish to make that dish good, that dish is shit. Like if I've got to put 10 grams of caviar onto my scallop dish to make it decent, it ain't good.
It would have made it better though.
No, it wouldn't have. It wouldn't have.
I'm trying really hard to play devil's advocate here, mate.
But not only because it'll dilute the flavour of stuff as well. I'm a Mr. 2 ingredients is too many type of guy. You put a big dollop of caviar and everything, it's going to dilute the flavour of what should be there, unless it's a caviar dish.
What about caviar on its own then?
That's fine. So if you're
off your hand like that, a little bit.
I'm all for that. That's cool because that's all about caviar as an ingredient. Okay. It's not about caviar as trying to be fancy.
Right.
Like Grant Akats or Akats, I don't know how you say his name. He got the truffle explosion dish. It was all truffle, and that's brilliant because it's truffle. It's a flavour. Yeah, truffle. I'm talking about caviar, but same kind of deal.
Yeah, same concept. Yeah.
No, if he's just putting caviar on everything for the sake of it, or putting through sauces for the sake of it, fuck off. I ain't got time for it.
Can we put caviar in Cellar?
Yes, you can. You know what? I think some of it is I'm pissed off that we can't afford to serve it. It'd be quite nice every now and again just put something on one dish, but I'm not going to charge you an extra 100 quid so you can have caviar on everything.
I agree with the concept of it going on everything.
It's going to end well for me, is it?
I don't think I can put caviar as a whole into Cellar 101.
Right, okay.
Champagne and caviar obviously is a big thing. It's not necessarily my thing. It's not necessarily our thing as with our business. And I get the idea of not wanting it on every single dish and going to every high-end restaurant and seeing the same caviar and the same producer, which is the exact same philosophy we have with our champagne. Is you shouldn't go to the same every restaurant and be served the same champagne and the same brand that everybody knows. So the concept of putting caviar on a lot of dishes for the sake of having caviar on, I will agree to put in Cellar 101.
Thank you very much.
Caviar as an actual ingredient, don't think.
I agree with you.
So I'm happy to put that concept into.
I'm happy. Like caviar as an ingredient is fine. It's just that overuse of it all.
100%. It's in.
There you go.
It's in.
There you go. Perfect.
Never coming out.
I'm into that. Fuck it off.
Beautiful. So, to finish.
Here we go.
You've been waiting for this. I know how excited you are.
Eyeing these teeth.
I am so excited to play this with you, mate.
Okay.
So, it's time for aperitif. Or aperitif.
You fucking love that, don't you?
I'm so good, mate. Absolutely love it. So, we have got... Oh, I've not got it because my phone's in the next room with the questions on. Steve, producer, come on. So, aperitif or aperitif. So, aperitif is a champagne-themed concept, word, idea, technique, anything to do with the champagne industry as a whole. Or, thanks, producer Steve. Or it will be a pair of teeth, which will be a term to do with dentistry or some sort along that way.
Yeah.
So you got 3 questions.
Yeah.
It's me versus you. Obviously, if I trick you, if you get it wrong, I go in the point.
Okay.
So Your first term is... Now, some of these might be a translation, might be whatever, but we'll see how we get on. So, are you ready?
Yeah,
first question is... Dentel.
So, I don't know, but
No,
obviously my head's saying, well, it's obviously going to be champagne because, it sounds too much like dentistry. So, too much like, that kind of thing.
Yeah. You're going to go then?
I'm going to go champagne.
You're going to go champagne?
Yeah, I'm going champagne.
Correct. 1-0 James. So, it's a loose one, this. So, some are stronger ties than others.
Right.
So, Dentel is basically... Even I said it in my French accent.
Dental.
Oh, yes. Or dentelle, I don't know.
Dental.
Me no know. It's basically French for lace, which is a term used by the French to describe the fine bubbles or a delicate feature within champagne.
There you go. I knew that. I definitely knew that.
Yeah, it was probably too obvious of a change, that one. So,
yeah, too
obvious.
All
right, 1-0, James. Right. Number 2. Pontique. Or is it Pontique?
No, it's got to be dentistry, hasn't it?
Dentistry? Final answer?
Yeah.
Pontique is the artificial tooth in a dental bridge.
There you go.
2-0.
There you
Oh,
go.
I'm playing for pride now. I've been beaten. Right, here we go.
I'm going to fuck this one up.
He's not bothered now. He's 1-2 now.
I don't care.
Your final one is Bruxer. Is that aperitif or aperitif?
So I used to see dental surgery and stuff at work.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you got your background. Oh, I've never had a chance, did I really?
No, but I don't.
Guy's
No, I'm going to say
bloody nurse.
champagne with that one.
I'm back in the game. 2-1. So a Bruxer, spelt Bruxer, apparently is a person who grinds their teeth typically during sleep. And then in inverted commas, bruxism.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know if it's true.
Yep.
ChatGPT told me it was, so we'll go for it. 2-1. James, congratulations on winning aperitif. You don't
Well,
get to keep
the
these.
teeth home with me.
No, you don't, but
All right, fair
we're in
enough.
for the next episode. But there you go. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Super. Thanks for joining us, James.
Brilliant.
Absolute pleasure to chat with you. That's been Aperitif. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next set.